So right now, what are we supposed to make of the semiconductor space? The companies that make chips that are at the heart of the Internet of Things. Specifically, where does that put a company like Cypress Semi? CY. That's the maker of programmable systems on a chip that are used in a host of end markets, along with controller chips for all sorts of machines and devices like autos, other industrial uses. Cypress rallied 36% in large part thanks to its merger of equals that announced with Spansion last December. And while the stock kept climbing up to a multi-year high of $16.25 this March, since then it's been pretty downhill. The stock now trades at 11 and change. But yesterday, the company reported a terrific quarter, delivering a 2-cent earnings beat off a 13-cent basis, higher than expected revenue, in large part because we're seeing the synergies from this terrific Spansion merger earlier than most people expected. I don't think the synergies are done either. Cypress gave us strong guidance for the next quarter. So let's check in with TJ Rodgers, the founder, president, and CEO of Cypress Semiconductor, to hear about more about the quarter and where his company's headed. TJ, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, so we've got this merger where it seems like pretty much every day since it's happened, you're taking out costs, boosting margins, and the margins of the company that you merged with are much lower than Cypress's. Can you ever bring them all the way up to Cypress? I know it seems like they're halfway there.
That's exactly right. We merged a 50% company, a 52 or 3% company with a 32 or 3% company, and ended up at 40. It turns out gross margins aren't the end of the story. Obviously, margin on your selling price matters, but it turns out the businesses we acquired or we merged were a flash memory business, which is huge, $400 million, and it turns out you have a very, very small operating expense associated with a very high volume. So you make only, let's say, 35% on what you ship, but then your overhead is much lower, like 25%. So the business, the gross margins is going to stay down. We're going to improve it by 10 points, but it's never going to get back to the 55% Cypress enjoyed. And that's okay, because we'll make 20% in the bottom line, and that's really what it's all about anyway.
Well, I want people to understand what's happening and why this is so synergistic. I'm looking at a terrific presentation that you made about where the increased penetration of existing automotive markets. That's the Internet of Things in the autos. For instance, driver assistance. When we by mistake change lanes, and we kind of get woken up by that, that is a product that you make, right? And that's something that almost every new car, especially the high-end cars, have.
Yeah, it's called ADAS. It is Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, and it is the fastest growing segment of the automotive market, growing at 15% per year. Automotive at 5% per year, in turn higher than 4% per year for semis. And you're absolutely right. It's cameras that look at things and can see lane lines and stuff like that. And we make chips that go into that, both microcontrollers and memories that are required for the very complex programs that drive those microcontrollers.
All right, now we're very familiar with Harman. When you sell to a BMW or a Honda or a Mercedes, do you for infotainment, is that to Harman or is that directly by your sales force to those companies?
It's through Harman. Of our 5 top customers now after the merger, 3 of the top 5 are automotive. One of the other ones being Sony, which everybody knows. And 3 of the top 5 are Japanese. So last week I was in Japan, and I was talking to Nippon Denso, or Denso is now called, which is the supplier to Toyota, and they're our largest customer. They're extremely important to us, and we make things for them, they make systems, and they in turn sell to Toyota.
Now, there's an important divestiture that I understand from yesterday's conference call that's going to be coming up, which is a company that we actually liked and talked about before, this True Touch. It seems like from the conference call that other people have come in and mimicked it, and you always try to be in something where you're the lowest cost producer, and it sounds like people undercut you, but you're still going to get a lot of money for it. What are you going to do with the money?
We're going to take that money and we're going to use it partly. We have a buyback program. We'll use it partly for that. And we currently have a little bit of debt. We'll probably reduce our debt.
All right. Now, you have some China exposure. This is all anybody asks about these days. It's to the luxury market. You're a shrewd guy, and you're much more of a man of the world than I am. Are you concerned that China is literally falling apart and a command economy could go, let's say, to a dramatically lower level?
No, I don't think China's going to go backwards. Really what's going to happen, and it has to happen to everybody that succeeds, you succeed strongly for a while and then your rate of growth tapers off. China has got a lot of workers. Their wages are lower than other places you can go. Their technology level is rising every day. And China is a place, both as a market and as a place to make things, that is a powerhouse that is maybe having a little midterm correction. But no, there's nothing going to go wrong with China.
Okay, last question. I was confused. This is a term you use constantly, and I know that our investors want to hear about it. You do a lot of energy harvesting chips. Is that to save power? Is that something that everybody wants in their PCs or wants in almost every device? Energy harvesting chips allow you to run a machine of some sort without a battery. For example, you talked about the Internet of Things. Well, that is exactly what it says. It's a thing on the Internet. So, for example, in the future, if you want a building to be more energy efficient, you might put a thermometer in an attic space, let's say. And then that thermometer will tell you if the attic is hot or cold, and you'll turn on and off fans, and you'll route heater, air conditioning, etc. And you don't want to have to climb up in the attic to change a battery even once a year. So what you do is you have to, for that Internet of Things appliance, you want it to be powered with harvested energy. So we make power chips that harvest ambient light, like the light in a room, which is 100 times less bright than outdoors. Vibration, if you're in an automobile, the vibrations from just driving are enough to give you a little bit of power, microwatts. And heat, if you're up against something that's warm, you can get the heat out of it and use it for power. So by harvesting light, vibration, or heat, you can create microwatts of energy, tiny. But those microwatts of energy are enough to cause an Internet of Things device to power up once every second, give you the data about the temperature, and then go back to sleep for another second. And what that'll mean is you'll be able to make little boxes, throw them around, and measure a bunch of stuff without having batteries, and it'll all be wireless. It'll all talk to mom, and you'll be able to know a lot more about your environment than you did before. Well, those are just the type of chips that we don't see, but we definitely want. TJ Rogers, founder, president, and CEO of Cypress Semiconductor, congratulations on the great merger. And I know this company has got the great yield and will keep going higher over time. Thank you so much. Good to see you, sir. Thank you. This is the kind of chip that you want right now. It's not all cell phone, which is all anybody wants to leave. It's industrial and automotive. You just heard it, Internet of all things. I still like the stock as much as ever. Mad Money's back after the break. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.